Hey there, I wanted to touch base and just share a few thoughts via social media. Now, I get it, we're all going to be inundated with people sharing their thoughts on social media because that's all we have, right? So I was actually hesitant to do so because I don't want to be another voice in such a crowded space already, but decided to go ahead and do it. It doesn't matter to me one bit if you watch or if you scroll on by. I'm not here to get 1,000 likes. I'm here. I feel like I've got a couple things that I want to share that I think we're all experiencing together, and I wanted to speak to those things. And I have a couple presences online. I'm Christine Hoover. I'm Chris's wife. I'm Madison and Colton's mom. I'm a soul adventurer, and I blog that way. I'm also Christine Hoover, LPC. So I didn't know which account to post to and what to call myself. I'm just coming on as Christine, all right, and sharing, like I said, a couple things. First of all, I want to just get this out of the way before we go any further, but this is kind of how my day is going. I don't know about yours. Decided to curl my hair for the first time today since I've been home this morning before session. So I got my curling iron, which I haven't used since I've been in New Zealand, which I only used, I think, once when I was there. Plugged it in and went to curl a spot of hair right here. Clipped on or put the hair in there, turned it, and I smell, and I heard a sound. And here you will see on my curling iron, that is not a product, that is my hair. So I don't know what happened, but I have a chunk of hair. Do you see the difference from here to here? Missing. Because it is now on my curling iron. And I don't know if that's like a power surge that happened from going from New Zealand electricity to Huntsville electricity. I don't get it, but I'm now missing a chunk of hair, and I thought, well, that about sums up how I've been feeling lately, and so don't know what to do about that. I don't even think Lindsay can fix that. I know I need some help here too, but so a couple thoughts that I want to speak to, because we are all realizing that we're going to be in this a little longer than we thought, and that this, for the good of our neighbors, for the good of each other, that we need to be in this together. But there's something that I want to speak to that I've been actually hearing from other people as well, and that resonates with a lot of the work I do with my clients. But I wanted to put a word out there of what many of you are experiencing, and I want to put a name to it. That name is grief. All right, we're all collectively and individually in a space where there is a lot of grief, okay? And grief is something we oftentimes want to put just in the sense of like when someone dies, that there's a grief of that life. But grief is much broader than that. It's much bigger. But grief is the loss of something as it was. And you see how our lives right now are not as they were. And there aren't many times in a lot of our memories, maybe some of us, when there has been an event that has altered everything. I mean, everything. And 9/11 was a big event for our country and the world, but this event, a global pandemic, is it's just extraordinary in the implications. So grief means we're all experiencing loss. And I know one of the things we've talked a lot about with a lot of my friends is those who have seniors in high school or seniors in college, the loss of celebrating in those collective ways. We have the loss of our work environments as they were. Our family systems are looking different. The loss of seeing each other and being together and gathering and getting, and we talk a lot about now with introverts and extroverts. And as an extrovert, I'm losing this energy that I gain from being with people, and introverts have things they're losing as well. So it's not a game of who's losing more or who's losing what that's bigger or smaller. This is not comparative. This is not one's bigger than the other. We don't compare grief, but what we do is we normalize it and we experience it together. And I have a worksheet that I give to my clients often on how to process grief, how to process a loss in a life, and how to name it. We say in mental health a lot, name it and tame it. That means put a word to it and experience it. That way you can say, yeah, I am feeling that. And I've adapted that worksheet. So if you want to private message me or write in the comments, I'll send that to you. and I've adapted it for COVID, for this thing, to kind of make it a little more concise to what we're dealing with. But grieving is not, it doesn't mean we're grumbling. It doesn't mean we're having a pity party. God wants us to come to him with our loss. You know, Jesus said, blessed are those who mourn, see, who grieve, they'll be comforted. So when we show up with our authentic selves, we show up with our grief, we tell God and we tell each other, and we use some of that language. Yeah, I've noticed I'm really grieving blank, and talk about that. But what we want to do sometimes, and we're really bad about this, is we want to push down the grief, but yet keep moving, keep doing. And then we hustle and we work harder and we try to cover it up. But I'm inviting you to not cover it up. I'm inviting you to be open and to name it and let yourself own and be honest. Walk in the light about these things that are happening, that you're having to find new headspace for, new heart space for, and make room. That God wants us to show up authentically and not try to pretend, not try to fake it, but really name. Now, of course, this is not about bemoaning and whining. But you know what the Psalms are? The Psalms are full of the psalmist honestly crying out to God about the things that aren't as they should be or they want them to be. So I want to invite you to do that. So the second thing I want to talk about is this experience I'm having. Now, I don't know if this is everybody. It might depend on some personalities, but I think it's bigger than just me, but how out of sorts we're feeling. All right, we just feel really out of sorts. And that may be showing up some different ways. Some things might be really good for some people. Like, this is kind of nice being at home, and I get it that there's some really good things. But this sense of being out of sorts, our rhythms are out of whack. Our home, work, school environments are out of whack. Our family systems are more disconnected socially, maybe. And so in that out of sorts feeling, some of the things happening for me, I'm very distracted. I feel like I'm just impulsive. I'm moving from thing to thing. I can't stay on track. I have not been able to read since this started. I love to read. I can't focus. I'm feeling, one minute I'm feeling like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna do all these great things for people, and I'm gonna change the world with my kindness. The next minute I want to take a nap, and I feel exhausted. I feel energized. I'm swinging a lot in that. Now, if that's your experience, I'm gonna tell you what I'm doing, and I'm noticing. I'm really trying to do also, go inside that emotional world and what's happening in there. And I'm paying attention to my irritability. I'm paying attention to how quickly I get frustrated, how quick to anger I am. And that's telling me that maybe there's something inside I need to kind of deal with and name, and how I'm feeling, and trying to be okay in this out of sorts environment that I'm in. And so I just wanted to let you know that if that's something you're experiencing, that's a part of the disruption that we're facing. It's part of the, this all feels really new and different, and it is new and different, but it's going to have to stay this way for a while. So I want us to learn how to cope and how to help each other with that. And again, I just wanted to show up for a few moments to let you know a couple of those things, that this experience of collective grief is big. And I'm inviting you to slow down and enter into that. Let's not just try to put a silver lining on it so fast. Of course, God's at work. But of course, also, we're losing a lot of things. And there's a lot that is not as it should be and not as we long for it to be. If you'd like that resource, I can send that to you. But also letting you be okay if you feel out of sorts. And so I just want to say that we're in this together, and that together we can make it. So let's be honest when we're together. Let's not try to pretend that we're okay when we're not. And let's really help each other find goodness in this, and find how God is meeting us in the space. And so you guys take care. I'll let you know if I lose any more hair. Hopefully I won't. And good to see you, and you have a great day. Bye.